It's James here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson I'm going to show you how to play All Apologies by Nirvana. Now, this one is just a riff and then a really simple chords section, and the only catch is that the guitar is tuned a little differently. We're going to be playing in drop D tuning, and that's where you take the thickest string and you put it down to the note D. So you can just pluck your D string and then that string and just adjust till they sound the same. You know, that's the easiest way to do it. You could also just do it with a tuner. Now, if you want to play along with the original recording, you'll do that first, and then you'll lower all the strings by a half step. So the original recording is, the tuning would be D flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat. But, you know, we're just going to do it in standard tuning. For the demonstration that I did at the beginning of this video, I did put my guitar down into half step down, drop D flat, or whatever you would call it. And it takes a long time and it's a really big hassle. You know, this way we just have to lower our string to D and then we can learn the song. Now, speaking of learning the song, if you need any help following along, there's my completely free ebook. I have one for rhythm and I also have one for lead guitar, and you'll get them both. There's a link down below, 100% free. So we're going to start by placing our first finger on the 9th fret of the A string. And then we're going to pluck the thickest string. And then the A string, we're going to go 9, 10, 9. So I was using my index and my middle finger there. Let's just get that little bit. 3 and 4 and. Now for the next note, we can either slide from the 10th fret to the 12th fret with our middle finger, like this. Or if you want to make it a little bit easier, you can just play the 12th fret with your pinky finger, like this. So you decide what you want to do right now. The notes are going to be the same either way. The only difference is you'll either be sliding up to the 12th fret with your middle finger for the whole thing, or using your pinky finger. So decide on that. Anyways, continuing with our riff, here's where we're at so far. And now we're going to pluck that 12th fret again. And then we're going to go back down to the 10th fret without sliding. We're just going to move our finger quickly and then go 10, 9. So the second half there, just like that. All together, 3 and 4 and. If you do it with your pinky, 3 and 4 and. Now the next part of the riff starts the same way. And once we get to that point, we're going to go to the D string and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to slide from the 10th fret to the 12th fret and then 10, 9. So it's the same thing. We just switch strings partway through the riff. So let's do that part slowly. 3 and 4 and. Now, when it comes to adding the thickest string, because he would play it during the riff at, you know, kind of random times. That's one of the really cool things about Nirvana is, like, if you listen to the guitar parts, it's never the exact same thing every single time. And that's not necessarily sloppiness as much as it is like the attitude of grunge music, you know, like he just doesn't care and he just does it whatever way he wants at that time, however he feels like doing it, you know. But for our purposes, we're going to pop that note in there in a couple specific places, and you can feel free to play around with it after. We're already playing it at the very beginning of the lick. And then here. But we can pop it in on the and of 2 as well. So it'll look like this. So let's break that down a little bit. I start off the same way. And then when I'm going to go play the 9th fret again, I'm plucking both the bottom strings. and then I just continue as usual, and then I do that again on the repeat. And I think that's a cool rhythm. It really fits in with the tune, but you can feel free to add that thicker string wherever you want. Just don't overdo it, you know, be sparse with it. That's ultimately all you have to do. And when you're ready, we can play it all together nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's the main riff, and you're going to be playing that for the majority of the tune. Now, the next part I want to learn is the intro, which is our main riff plus one little bit. So we would play our main riff once as usual, and then we would play this. And that's the intro. So it starts off the same way. And then here we're going to go. And instead of going to the D string, we'll go to the G string, and we're going to slide. I use my ring finger to slide up into the 11th fret from the 10th fret, and then 9, and then 12 on the D string. So just those 3 notes. And then we just add that to the little bit before it. And that's it. We're going to play this whole thing at the end, so you'll get a chance to play along. Otherwise, we're going to learn the chorus part, which is just chomping some chords. And we're going to be, since we're in drop D tuning, we just press the 5th fret, 3 strings. That's it. That's a power chord in drop D tuning. And you can use your middle finger, your ring finger, your index finger, whatever's comfortable. 5, 5, 5. And it's going to be all downstrokes. And we're going to be playing that for a while, so it's really helpful if we count it out. If you want to add some rhythm to it and not just be playing pure downstrokes, you can exclude the and after 3, like this. You know, if we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See how during the and right after 3, I'm just kind of not doing anything. You know, I still move my arm in the air to keep the whole groove going, but I'm not playing anything, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that helps the bass line stand out, because the bass is a really cool thing on that beat, so it leaves space for it, you know. Otherwise, you can just go 2 and 3 and 4 and just play pure downstrokes. That works just as well. And we have to count out how many measures we're doing. So how many times we're counting up to 4. We're going to count to 4 6 times total. So we have our power chord, and we just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we counted up to 4 6 times, and now we're going to go to the 7th fret and just hit it 1 time, and we'll count to 4 twice. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alternatively, you could play over here 0 2 2. So open A string, and then 2nd fret of the D string and 2nd fret of the G string. That's the exact same chord. It's just whatever's more comfortable for you. And that's it. That's the entire other section of this song. Now, if you're playing on electric guitar, this would be the time to turn on your distortion. And that's it. That's the entire tune. So let's play the whole thing nice and slow now. The intro, the verse, which is just our riff, we're going to do it 4 times, and then we're going to play the chorus, which is just some chords. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. go. We would go back to the verse now. Now, if you're playing this on electric guitar, as far as your settings, Kurt Cobain used a Fender Twin in the early years, and then later he switched to Mesa Boogie. But at the end of the day, he had a really big, loud, clean amplifier that gave him a really punchy, clean tone, like we would have on the verse in this song. And I would focus on achieving the punchiest clean tone you can. If you have a tube amp, remember that the volume knob is the good tone knob. You know, the higher that thing goes, the better it's going to sound usually. And it's tough to get really good tone at quieter volumes. So you have your clean tone for the verse. And then for the chorus, Kurt Cobain used really cheap Boss distortion pedals, like a DS1, like I have right here. He also later used a DS2. And those pedals, you just turn them on and they add a ton of dirty, grungy gain and distortion. And that's what you would be doing for the chorus of a song like this, you know? So you just press that button right when you're about to start chomping those power chords. And that's all there is to it, really, you know, just those two tones, those two sounds. Now, if you find that you need any extra help with this lesson, don't forget about that chart on my Patreon page. It's like a full worksheet with all the parts of this song laid out for you. There's also my free lead ebook. I have a few courses as well. I'm going to be releasing a lead guitar course really soon, so take a look down below for any links. I'll be posting them in this lesson when that's ready. Aside from that, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.